Earlier, we learned what is word stress and its importance. Now, in this video, let us learn the rules of word stress. Before going to learn the rules of the stress, let us learn some other necessary information of word stress. Syllable stress or word stress is often determined by the prefixes and suffixes, and these prefixes and suffixes are added to basic form of the word, and these are added at the beginning and end of the words, and also they change the meaning of the original word. Do you understand? Syllable stress or word stress is often determined by the prefixes and suffixes. So here you have to learn one thing. The knowledge of prefixes and suffixes is very necessary, and these prefixes are added to the basic form of the verb, the basic form of the word, and keep this point in your mind. So anyway, let us learn word stress rules, and here we have some word stress rules. Stress on words in English is not tied to any particular syllable for the entire vocabulary. You know very well, we have much vocabulary in dictionaries, but the stress of one word is different to another word in a dictionary. So we have to learn the stress pattern of English individually, and there are certain groups of words which follow some regular stress patterns. And take an example: nouns, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, and verbs. See here, the stress of nouns is different to verbs, adjectives, prepositions. So nouns may be having stress on one particular syllable, prepositions on one particular syllable, verbs on another particular syllable. And we have also monosyllabic, disyllabic, trisyllabic, penta, poly, etc. According to the kind of syllabic words also, we have a kind of stress. So anyway, these patterns allow a few exceptions that they may be called rules of stress. I am repeating, these patterns allow a few exceptions. Of course, earlier what we learnt is possible, but for those also there are some exceptions, and these exceptions are said to be rules of stress, and these rules are based on the kinds of prefixes and suffixes. So earlier we have learned the knowledge of prefixes and suffixes is very necessary for word stress. And once again, we have come across the rules of the word stress based on the kinds of prefixes and suffixes. So here we have to learn one thing, that is the knowledge of prefixes and suffixes is very necessary. So let us understand prefixes and suffixes. The knowledge of prefixes and suffixes is necessary for doing the word stress effectively, and this is according to earlier information. Anyway, let us try to understand what is prefix and suffix. And coming to prefixes, we have to understand at first what is a prefix. What is a prefix? See the information. A prefix is a word that is added at the beginning of the root word to form a new word. A prefix word does not have any meaning of its own, but when added to a root word, it modifies the meaning of the word. Prefix makes a word negative, indicate opinion, or show repetition. Let us try to understand this one with the help of an example. Please have a look at this example. See, un is a prefix, happy is a root word, and by adding a prefix un to the root word happy, you can form a new word that is unhappy. And here, but when added to a root word, a prefix, that prefix modifies the meaning of the root word. And here, the root word happy consisted of a positive meaning. But when a prefix added to this root word, the meaning is changed. And what is the meaning here? What is the meaning of unhappy? And unhappy means it will give us a negative meaning. Okay, and prefixes makes a word negative at times and indicate opinion or show repetition. So anyway, do you understand what is a prefix? And let us try to understand what is a suffix. See, like prefixes, suffixes are also words that are added to the root word to form a new word. But suffixes are added at the end of the root word, whereas prefixes at the beginning of the root word. Suffixes change the meaning of the word it is added to, just like prefixes, but not make the word negative as prefixes. And here the prefix "an" changes, makes the root word negative. Okay, but here suffixes are not so. It simply changes the class of the root word, like a verb is changed into adjective by adding a suffix. Let us see one example word. See, this is an example word, forget. And here forget is a root word. And what is the suffix? The suffix is full. And the suffixes are added to the root word at the end. But prefixes are added to the root word at the beginning. Okay. And see here, forget is a root word, full is a suffix. By adding a suffix to the root word forget, you can form a new word that is forgetful. And here forgetful is a what? Another word, and this is an adjective. But forget is a verb. By adding a suffix to the root word that is a verb, you can form a new word, and that new word is entirely different, because here the class is entirely different, and here forget is a verb, and this one is what? Adjective. Whereas here happy is a adjective and unhappy is also adjective. Here the class is the same, but here the class can be changed, and this is the speciality of suffix. Do you understand what is prefix and suffixes? So with the help of this knowledge, let us try to understand all the word stress rules. Let us come to the rules. Rule 1. What is the rule 1? Usually, prefixes or weak prefixes don't take the stress of a word. Therefore, the stress is always on the root word. And here, you have to remember one important thing, that is the knowledge of prefixes and suffixes and root word. What is prefix and what is suffix and what is root word? You have to continue this knowledge. And here you have been given some examples of prefixes. Please have a look at these prefixes: a, ad, be, in, im, and all these are examples of weak prefixes or prefixes. And here we have to understand one more important point of these prefixes, that is, these are all common prefixes and are usually not stressed. What is common prefix? For example, be. Be is a common prefix. With the same prefix, you can form a number of words. For example, before, behind, beyond. All these are the words are formed with the help of only one prefix, that is be, and that is the reason why this is said to be common prefix, and also it is said to be weak prefix because and it has only two letters. When you have come across any prefix which is having one or two letters that is said to be weak prefix, and weak prefixes or common prefixes are never stressed. Generally, the stress is always on the root word only. Let us try to understand this rule with the help of a table. And here is a table. Let us have a look at the table. So coming to the first column, and the first column is telling about the words. Let us see. A is a prefix and broad is a root word. Be is a prefix and come is a root word. Re is a prefix and pet is a root word. Okay, and let us see the second column. And coming to the second column, in the second column, the root words are highlighted in white complexion. Why? Because according to the rule, the stress is on only root word, not on prefixes, because here the prefixes are common prefixes, or what is that, weak prefixes. With the help of one more example, you can understand the same. See the third column. In the third column also we have the same what is that, prefix m. In the first column we have the same prefix, and in the third column we have the same prefix. Why? Because these are common prefixes. But here the root word is different, but the prefix is common prefix anyway. And weak prefixes are never stressed, but the stress is only, is only on root word. Let us see the answers of second column words. And what are the answers? The answers is, and where is the stress? The stress is on root words only, and the white colored words are root words, and the stress is on these root words only, but not on prefixes. And these prefixes are weak prefixes. And do you understand what is the first rule? Earlier we learned about what is a suffix. Let us again memorize what is the knowledge of a suffix. A suffix is mainly added at the end of a root word and is of mainly two types. One is inflectional suffixes, second one derivational suffixes. And it is a rule about inflectional suffixes. Let us have a look at what is inflectional suffixes. The inflectional suffixes ed, es and ing don't affect the root word accent. What are inflectional suffixes? The inflectional suffixes are ed, es and ing. So these are inflectional suffixes. What is the meaning of inflectional suffixes? Let us have a look at. The inflectional suffix is a suffix which can make a new word without changing the meaning of the basic word. Do you remember? A suffix is also a group of letters or a word that can make a new word. Okay, and here also inflectional suffix is a suffix which can make the new word, but a suffix can also change the meaning of the root word or the basic word. But here this inflectional suffix cannot change the meaning of the root word. Let us see some examples. Here dog is a word, dogs is also another word, and coming to dog is a root word, and coming to dogs is a word with a suffix. What is the suffix? The suffix is s. By adding a suffix to the root word dog, here the meaning is not at all changed, but by adding a suffix you can form a new word, and that we have learned with the help of inflectional suffix. In the same manner, ask and asked, ed is a inflectional suffix with the help of which you can make a word, make a new word, but here the meaning of the basic word or the root word cannot be changed. Do you understand? Here ask will provide you one meaning, and asked is also providing you the same meaning, but here ask is V1 and asked is a V2, but both are relating the same meaning. Here it is V1 or V2. Of course, when it is V1 or V2, both are telling about the same meaning. And here the meaning of the basic word cannot be changed when an inflectional suffix is added to the root word. Got it? And here ed, es and ing, all these are inflectional suffixes, but these inflectional suffixes are regarding verb forms. Remember, these inflectional suffixes are especially about verb forms only. These are used to make verb forms. Do you know verb forms? How many verb forms are there? Yes, V1, V2, V3 and V4. In order to form especially V1, V2, V3, V4, we use generally these inflectional suffixes. I am repeating, in order to form V1, V2, V3, V4, we especially use these inflectional suffixes only. Okay, and ES. Coming to ES is also belongs to nouns. That means ES is a suffix which is used to form verb form and also is used to form nouns also, and it is an exception. So try to remember this. So let us try to understand more and more about this with the help of some examples. See here, it is a example word, that is recommend. This example word recommend is a root word with prefix. Okay. And coming to ed, and ed is a suffix. Okay. And recommended. So recommended is a accented word. Okay, so recommend is a root word with prefix, ed is a suffix, recommended is a accented word. Let us try to understand this word. Here recommend is a root word with prefix. What are the prefixes in this root word? The prefix is RA and COM. Okay, and coming to ed is a suffix, but here ed is a inflectional suffix. By adding this ed, an inflectional suffix, we can form recommended, but here this recommended is a accented word, and where the accent is, where the stress is, see here the highlighted word mend, which is in red complexion, and this mend is accented or stressed, but not ed, but not the prefixes. And what is the rule? The inflectional suffixes ed or es or s or ing cannot affect the root word accent. What is the root word? The root word is recommend. Okay, and so coming to the root word, where the stress is, and in the root word the stress is again on mend. By adding ed, here the stress of the root word cannot be changed. Even by adding ed the suffix, you can form recommended. In this recommended also the stress is on the same syllable as in the root word. So from this, what we have to understand is an inflectional suffix ed or es or ing cannot affect the root word's stress, and the root word stress cannot be changed. But here you have to note one important thing, and they are, see here, there are two prefixes in the root word. One is re and second one COM. At times you can come across a root word with one prefix, at times with two prefixes. So whether it is a root word with one prefix or two prefixes, the inflectional suffixes cannot change the stress of the root word. Let us try to understand some more important information. So here recommend RE is a RE plus comment, and this is the root word, and RE means here prefix, comment means root word. Again, the root word can be divided like this: RE plus COM plus ME ND. COM plus ME ND. So here RE means already it is prefix. Okay, and again RE is a prefix, and here comment. So comment can be divided again prefix plus root word. So that means we have two prefixes. Note, we can add more than one prefix, and this is an example word one. So anyway, try to remember one thing: the inflectional suffixes ed or es and ing cannot affect the root word accent. Got it? Some examples of inflectional suffixes. It is a table of inflectional suffixes which will provide you examples of ed, es, ing inflectional suffixes. And this table consisted of 3 columns. Every column consisted root word, suffix and stressed word. And this column is about ed, second column is about es, and third column is about ing. Anyway, here remember again the rule of inflectional suffixes, and the inflectional suffixes don't affect the stress of the root word. And what is the root word? The root word is relate, and the suffix is ed, and this one is stressed or suffixed word. Okay, and the rule is inflectional suffixes like ed or es or ing don't affect the stress, and relate is the root word, and this root word has the stress on late, and by adding ed, where is the stress? And by adding ed we can form related, and on this word also the stress is on the same syllable, that is late. Understand? Let us see the second column. Coming to second column, the suffix is es, but earlier I said to you es is also inflectional suffix, but most probably the inflectional suffixes are relating to verb forms, and as far as our knowledge is concerned, but at times this inflectional suffix is also used to form nouns. And here for the sake of you have been given the highlighted words. Coming to this word is verb, and this word is noun, and this word is verb, and this word is noun. Okay, see here, by adding a suffix es to the verb form we can form one more verb form. By adding es, a inflectional suffix, to the noun, we can form another noun. In the same manner rest of the two ones also. Anyway, coming to the root word, in which the stress is on the syllable, that is pose, and the stressed word in which also the stress is on the same syllable, that is pose, and es has no effect on the root word. So that means inflectional suffixes have no stress, don't affect the stress of the root word. And let us see third column, and in the third column the suffix is ing, and advance is a root word. Okay, and ing is suffix advancing. Now here vans. In the root word, vans is a syllable which is stressed, and by adding suffix here, this stress of the root word cannot be affected, and in the stressed word also the stress is on the same syllable, that is vans. Okay, so from all these examples what we have to understand is, here the root word is very important, not the inflectional suffixes, especially when you do stress on the words, right? A complete table about inflectional suffixes. In this table, you are going to learn about other inflectional suffixes. So far, you have learned about the inflectional suffixes like es, ed, and ing. And here, you have been given the white colored inflectional suffixes about which we have already learned, and you have also been given red colored inflectional suffixes and about which especially we are going to learn. So anyway, before going to learn this, let us try to understand these inflectional suffixes in other manner. So coming to first one, these two inflectional suffixes are all about noun only, and second set of inflectional suffixes which are all about verb form only. That means these four are all about verb form, and third set of inflectional suffixes, and these are about adjective. Do you understand? So coming to first set, these are all about noun. Second set, these are all about verb, and third set, these are all about adjective. So earlier we have learned about the suffixes of what? Noun and verb, but not the adjective. So anyway, so in this table, let us try to understand the red colored inflectional suffixes only, right? So coming to first one, en, and it is about noun, and here we have been given one example word, and oxen, and it is from ox plus en. Ox is a root word and the suffix is en. By adding en to the root word ox, you can form oxen, but here coming to the stress of the root word is on the same syllable, and moreover it is monosyllabic. Okay, and by adding en you can form disyllabic word. So although it is disyllabic, the stress cannot be changed. And what is the fundamental rule of inflectional suffixes? And inflectional suffixes cannot change the stress of the root word. And coming to another en, and here this en is about verb. Okay, let us see one example. Eaten. Okay, so eaten is from eat plus en. Eat means the basic word or the root word, plus en means, and that is a suffix. By adding en to the root word, you can form eaten, and the stress on the root word where it is on the same syllable, and eat is a monosyllabic. Okay, now here even in the eaten also on the same syllable, that is eat, and this en cannot affect the stress of the root word. And so rest of the two ones are er and est. Okay, and these two are all about adjective. Let us see: big, bigger, big, biggest, and here er and est. Okay, and by adding er to the big, or by adding est to the big, you can form bigger or biggest. And coming to the big, where is the stress in this word big? As it is monosyllabic, again the stress is on the same syllable. Even in bigger also, the stress is on the same syllable. Even in the biggest also, the stress is on the same syllable. So from this table, finally we have to understand that inflectional suffixes we have many, and these are all these, and these cannot affect the stress of the root word. Do you understand? Derivational suffixes. Let us see some information of derivational suffixes. Derivational suffixes is, ans, en, er, ess, full, hod, ish, ly, ment, ness, or ship, and all these are derivational suffixes, and these don't affect the root word accent. Earlier we came across inflectional suffixes. Even inflectional suffixes also don't affect the root word accent. Just like inflectional suffixes, even the derivational suffixes also don't affect the root word accent. But remember, suffixes of two types: inflectional suffixes and derivational suffixes. What is derivational suffix? Let us see the definition. A suffix which can make a new word changing the meaning of the basic word or root word. Remember again, what is a inflectional suffix? An inflectional suffix is a suffix which can make a new word but without changing the meaning of the basic word. But here this is entirely, derivational suffix is entirely different to inflectional suffix. Okay, why? Because, and here this suffix can make a new word just like inflectional suffix, but here changing the meaning of the basic word. Let us see some more information so that you can clearly understand. The new word has a new meaning, yes, and the new meaning is related to the old meaning, and it is derived from the old meaning. And here you have been given some examples. See here, appear is a word, and appearance. Do you remember the meaning of the suffix that we learned earlier? By adding a suffix to the root word, you know, you can change the class of the root word. And here, what is the root word? The root word is appear, and here the suffix is nothing but ance, ants, this one. Okay, by adding ants to this root word, you can change the class of the root word, and actually appear is a verb. But by adding ans to this root word, you can change the class of a new word, and the new word is appearance, and here the class of this one is noun, and here the class of this word is what? The root word is what? Verb. So by adding a suffix to the root word, you can change especially the class, whereas coming to inflectional suffixes, it is not so. Of course, with the help of inflectional suffixes, you can make new word, but the meaning cannot be changed. Okay, so let us clearly understand the word appear so that you can understand what is derivational suffixes and derivational suffixes, which are all used to derive a new word. Okay. Let us see the same example, that is appear. And appear is a root word with stress. Where is the stress? And here, to make you understand, the syllable which is peer is highlighted in red color, and this one is stressed in the root word appear. Okay. And here ants is a suffix. Okay, ans is what? Suffix. And here we are adding ans to the root word, that is appear. And by adding ans to the root word appear, you can form appearance. And here this appearance is a suffixed word with stress. Okay, here it is a suffixed word. Why? Because to this root word we added ans, so that's why it is said to be suffixed word but with stress. And I have already said to you the root word. In the root word, peer, the syllable is stressed. After adding ans also, where is the stress? In the suffixed word, again on the same syllable, that is peer. And what is the meaning? The derivational suffixes is, ans or any other which also don't affect the root word accent. Anyway, from inflectional suffixes and derivational suffixes, we have to understand a common thing, that is those two don't affect the root word stress, but inflectional suffixes make a new word, derivational suffixes also make a new word. Inflectional suffixes don't change the meaning of the root word, but coming to derivational suffixes change the meaning of the root word. Do you understand? Right. However, the stress is on the same syllable in the root word and suffixed word. Do you understand? Some examples of derivational suffixes. Here you have been given some common derivational suffixes. Actually, the derivation suffixes are great in number. And in this table especially, we have 3 columns. And in each and every column, you have been given the common information, that is the root word, suffix and stressed word. Root word, suffix and stressed word. Root word, suffix and stressed word. Let us try to understand one example, and in the same manner you can understand other examples. But all the time you learn about derivation suffixes, you have to remember two important points of derivation suffix or suffix. The first one is derivation suffix can change the class. See, coming to the root word is a verb and derivation suffix is, and stressed word is carries and it is a noun. I'm repeating, this one is verb, suffix, and this one is noun. And derivation suffixes can make a new word but change the class. Okay, and derivation suffixes also cannot affect the stress. In the entire table, the red colored syllables are stressed syllables, and the blue colored letters or suffixes. Do you understand? And here the stress is in the root word is on the first syllable, that is carry, car. And even in the noun also, where is the stress? On the same syllable, that is the first syllable. Okay, let us try to understand another example. And coming to bright is a root word and which is monosyllabic and it is suffix. And where is the stress? In this syllable, as it is monosyllabic, on the same syllable the stress is. And even in stressed word also, where is the stress? On the same syllable, that is bright. And here bright means adjective, and here this brighten means verb. Coming to beauty, beauty is a noun, and full is a suffix, and beautiful is a adjective. Okay, in the same manner other set up the suffixes also. Try to understand these. suffixes IVE and last one is MENT. Okay, so have you understand the difference between inflectional suffixes and derivational suffixes? Okay.